Kamala Harris heads to the other critical state of this election, Pennsylvania, where she is close but still trailing Trump. Joining us from Michigan is our national correspondent, Dan Baldwin. Dan, welcome to the program. So good to see you.
It's always great to see you, Chanel.
Talk to us about the mood on the ground following the assassination attempt. You've been to a lot of these rallies at this point. What's the overall security and crowd sense?
Security is very similar, a little bit more difficult to get into the venue per se, a little bit more thorough checking of equipment and bags. When it comes to the mood on the ground, Chanel, people here are concerned about President Trump's safety following the second failed attempt. And obviously we saw earlier today Republican lawmakers, senators, calling for President Trump's Secret Service detail to be increased. We know that there's different tiers of protection offered to sitting presidents, former presidents, but this is a situation given the fact that there are 2 failed attempts in 2 months, constant threats coming in from Iran. Maybe you don't go by the books on this one and you enhance President Trump's security detail going through the election and likely through his next inauguration should he prevail in November. But people on the ground, they're enthusiastic about President Trump, but they're also incredibly concerned about his safety over the next 2 months or so.
Yeah, I imagine so. The talk on the ground, at least from a layman's conversation, is that the President Trump needs to hire private security, and I don't know what the legalities of that looks like. What's the campaign saying about this? I know the campaign's been very consistent, praising Secret Service, but behind the scenes, are they saying the same thing?
It's tight-lipped, Chanel. Nobody really knows exactly what they're thinking. Of course, President Trump is very grateful to law enforcement, Secret Service, for doing their jobs in preventing what would be a global catastrophe from happening Sunday afternoon when obviously a Secret Service agent, according to an FBI affidavit, spotted the nose of what was a rifle sticking out of the bushes. And what's concerning, Chanel, is according to that FBI affidavit, that alleged gunman was sitting there for 12 hours, according to phone records. And a local standby witness spotted him fleeing into a Nissan vehicle, and the passerby ultimately, according to this affidavit, went with law enforcement to ID him. But what's key is that they have him in custody, and he is still alive, so there needs to be questioning. And there are a lot of questions that people are asking, very logical questions as to how is a guy from North Carolina and Hawaii knowing exactly where the 45th president would be on a Sunday. There are just a lot of questions, and very rightful questions, after the incident. And there are questions about whether or not President Trump should be halting activities, at least for the time being, but we all know that that's just not his nature. And he's plowing ahead with a very, very busy schedule for the rest of the week, and he's already unveiling events for the following week as well.
I just imagine that there has to be some conversation back there about, bolstering his security. I know you covered Trump rallies before he was the official nominee, and he had a very hefty and very impressive private security detail on top of the Secret Service that was assigned to him as a former president. But looking at this, I guess I'm curious, in the immediate aftermath of this attempt, are you noticing anything in particular in this rally, say in Michigan, that seems to be bolstered, or does it seem fairly routine, fairly similar to the past events you've covered?
It's very routine, similar, I would say, at least in my own judgment. Again, getting into the venue was a slow, difficult process. They were incredibly thorough, checking bags, checking people. There were less mags, so there's more resources going into checking every single person.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.